Welcome. We're going to do another quick stream today. Only going to do about a half hour. I've got a couple things I want to do. First, I want to throw in a door so we can stop the progression from room to room until you get the key, and the key will open the door. So we want to do that. If I have time, I've also got a couple enemies. Probably a simple one, just a little flower enemy. I think it's just called flower. Yeah, flower enemy. So it's a little flower that basically once you kill it becomes just a light on the ground. So we'll try to get those two things done today in the half hour I have. Excuse me. And hopefully from there we will keep moving forward on this. I just don't have a whole lot of time today. I've got a whole bunch on my schedule. So without further ado, let's get into our Godot. And let's see here. A couple things I did do off screen is I add some sound effects into the bear trap and the sword. And I toned down the music volume just a little bit so it's not as overpowering. There's going to be a whole lot of sound balancing that I'm going to have to do with the music, especially trying to get a creak for the swaying of the rope and to get a nice sounding metallic thud when it hits stone. It's going to be really hard, or metal. I don't know exactly what this material is going to be, but we'll see eventually. So first things I want to do is I want to get this door. So let's go right into our first scene right here. And we're going to add in a new area 2D. We're just going to call this door. Let's add in our sprite. Add in child node sprite. Okay, and let's see here. Go down. We have our door scene, sprite, and let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 frames. Okay. 15. Okay, and let's move this into position. You can see here, look, it snaps right into place and it lines up perfectly. Okay, so we've got that. We've got the door. We need to define the area. So add child node, collision shape. Okay, and we're going to define that as a rectangle. Okay, let's get down here and let's tweak this up a little bit. Boom, boom. I think that's a good size. It kind of maybe we can just shrink it. There we go. So that the player's got to be right up next to the door to trigger it. Okay, we got this. Let's build this as a new scene. And we're going to put it in scene door. We're going to call it door. Okay. Okay, so let's add in an animation player. We're going to add in our frame. So we've got closed, so this will be frame 1. Animate, oops, gotta do. Wow, I am new animation. There we go. And let's call this closed. So we'll just add in that single frame. Sprite frame 0. Okay, and then we're gonna duplicate this. We're gonna call this open. And then open, we're going to set this to 14. So not frame 14. What frame was this supposed to be? Frame 13 must be. There we go, frame 13. Boom. Okay, and maybe close should have been frame. Let's see. This one has. Let's turn this off. This has like a little bit of a light. What does 14 have? 14 is the exact same. We'll just put it as 14. That's fine. So let's do one more, and let's do opening. Okay. And then opening, we'll make this continuous. Let's see, we got 14 frames, so let's do 1.4 seconds. We'll set up our snap, 0.1. We'll insert our key over here, and we'll want to make that frame 13. Oops, continuous. This needs to be frame 0. So we got beep beep. Okay, so we do need, let's see here, let's add a child node, let's add an audio player. Okay, and then we're going to need, you know what, I'm going to do, so this will be the stream player, so we'll use this for the animations. And then let's add one more audio stream player. And this is just going to be locked. Because what I want it to do is anytime you come near the door, I just want it to go, you know, like a buzz you out and say, hey, this is not a, you know, an open door. So let's go over here to the door. Let's find in my many assets here of sound effects. Let's see what we got here. This probably sounds horrible. Yeah, that sounds. Nope. You know what? That might actually work for an opening, so we'll add that. And then we need a, let's see, we got a beep. Not really like that. Nope. Nope. What we got here? Error? Yeah, I don't like that either. Well, let's see. What else we got? Glitch, huge laser, hurt, jump, morph, ping. That might be a good unlocking sound. Let's see what else we got. Nope. Nope. These are all 8-bit sounds. They're not the best, but looking for something that, you know, can be placeholder, at least for right now, that'll convey our meaning. That could be a good locked sound effect. I'll put that in here. Scan completed. That'll be our locked sound effect. And let's see, we need one more thing. We need an unlock sound. Yeah, that'll work. That'll be our unlock sound. Okay. So let's see here. Let's go back down here. Let's add in our audio player. Okay. So then what we have is we have our unknown action here. This is our unlock. Okay, and then we want the air to come with the opening. Okay, so we want to go back here. We want to trigger it right when it opens. So like right there. Okay. So we got that. So we got our closed, open, and opening. Okay. So now let's go back into our script here. We're going to add a script to the door. Class name door. I have a feeling that, again, this is just a quick and dirty thing, but in the future we may want to use the door again, so we'll do that. What do we need here? We'll need the collision shape because we'll want to disable it once it's open. We'll need the animation player. We won't need the IO stream player, but we will need the locked. Okay, so let's go down to a variable. We're going to also need a unlocked. Boolean equals false. Okay. We'll have to get back to that because I don't have a player manager yet, so trying to integrate the key might be a little bit more than a quick, simple things. But let's make the door work so at least when we walk into it, it will open. So, function ready. So the first thing we want to do is we want to, let's set the unlocked. We'll just set it to false again, just to be safe. Shouldn't have to, but I just kind of tend to do that. This is we want to do the monitoring here. The door collision. We want to look for the player. So monitoring, waiting for the player to enter. Okay. So then here, we want to do body entered dot connect, and then we're going to do check for key is what we'll call that. Function check for key, and then and here we want to do animation player dot play, and we want to have the closed. There we go. That's the initial state. Okay. Check for the key. So when the body enters, check for the key. Oops. Again, right now we're just gonna trigger it. We're gonna open it. Animation player dot play. Actually, you know what? Let's do our lock sound effect first. Let's make sure that works. So let's do locked dot play. And so what we'll do is we'll say if not unlocked, we'll play the lock sound effect. Yeah, and then that should work. So let's go back into our playground here. We'll move our assassin back over. Where is he now? There he is. Move him back over to our test room. Right here. Okay. So we'll save this. Save this because this has the door. Now we'll see the door here. Now let's see what happens. Oh, okay. I hope so. Turn on my controller. Okay. So it's not detecting the body. Okay, let's see what's going on. Oh, I know why. Yep. Errors because we forgot to add in the body. So check for key. Underscore B. This is a character body. Okay. That will fix that. We also want to make sure we can't go through the door. So if we go back to the door, we need the door to physically exist on layer 1. So then that will block the player. Okay. Okay, so we got the lock sound effect. It's actually not blocking our player. So let's see what we can do about that. Our player... Oh, that's right. Our player only exists on layer 2. It's watching layer 1, but it's only existing on layer 2. So let's see here. Door. We get turned back on monitorable. Layer 1. Okay. That should. Nope. Okay. If we physically make it on layer 2, is that going to stop it? Nope. Why is our area... Oh, right. Because we did an area 2D, we need to do a physical, like, rigid body. Okay, so let's add a... Is it a rigid body or is it... No, it's a static body. That's what we want to add. We're going to go back to our door. We're going to add this in. This is going to be a collision. Collision shape, okay, and that's going to be a rectangle. We want to make this one smaller because we want this one to be actual size of the door. Oops. let's turn off our snap on this one. So we just want it to be the physical door itself. There we go. Boom. And we want this to be layer 1. So that will stop this. We don't need these anymore. That should be fine. This should stop this. We're going to want this in our script because once we're able to go through, we're going to want to remove that. So let's try this. Yeah. Now we have a door that we can't get through. Okay. Now, let's go back over here. And then if it's not unlocked, do this. Else, we're going to do animation player play. We're going to play opening. We're going to play the opening. We're going to await the finish of it. Animation player dot animation finished. Then after that, we're going to play the open. So it's only open. We're going to remove the static body. Dot, is it disabled? What is the term I'm looking for on this one? We'll just queue free it. We'll queue free the static body. And then we're going to, first we'll set unlocked equals true. Oh no, we won't, because we're checking for unlock, so we don't want to set that there. And then we want to turn off the collision shape. So we're going to put collision shape, not monitoring, ITOR. Nope, not collision shape. We just want plain monitoring. Monitoring equals false. Oops, no dot needed there. Okay. So then if this is unlocked, we can make it, we were going to go through, we're going to play the opening. We're going to wait for that animation to finish. Then we're going to play the open, which is going to leave it in the open state. We're going to remove the blocking, and we're going to turn off monitoring so we don't trigger it again. Okay, so let's put this as true here for testing. Okay, so it should play closed until we walk into it. Let's make sure that that's what's happening. And we can go right through it. Okay, so we may want to queue free it a little bit sooner than we were doing. So let's see here. So what we can do, instead of doing this, we're gonna turn off the monitoring here. We're not gonna queue free it here. What we're gonna do instead is we're gonna go into our animation player, opening, and then let's look at where the door should be open enough right there. Let's add in our static body. We're going to add in the static body here. So let's insert call method track on the static body. Okay. And right there, we're going to insert a queue free. Okay. So as soon as it gets to that point of the animation, we'll be able to get through. Okay, let's try this and see how it works. Yep, there we go. But we are not turning off the monitoring for some reason. Okay, let's go back. Why is the monitoring not turning off? Monitoring is false. Oh, because we need to disconnect the signal. Let's disconnect the signal. So instead, we'll just do this, disconnect. That should stop it from, there we go. Okay. Now we just have to link it to that key. We have to wait till we have the key before we can go through. So let's go back over here. We need a way to track the key, or at least signal that the key and the door are connected. So let's go into our room. Let's do it this way. We're going to do something. So looking at our room. Nope, that's not the right room. This is the room. There we go. Let's close this other stuff out because we don't need those open right now. Flamer, assassin. Nope, nope. Okay. So let's go into this room. Let's create a new add child node. So we want to add a node 2D. Normally you would think just want to add a node because all it's doing is all we're going to do is just create a little quick script that's going to track this type of stuff. That's not what is going to be very useful to us, because without it being a node 2D, it's not going to contain what's the word I'm looking for? It's not going to reference the exact physical location of these door and the key. So without that node 2D, it's going to go, I don't know where to put them. So they're just going to be off in La La Land. I'm going to just call this locked. I'm going to call it room lock. There we go. And then we're going to take the key and the door, and we're going to put those under there. Okay. And then here, we're going to add in a script, and we'll call it room lock. Okay. I'm not going to bother with that here. Let's see. We're going to need a reference to the door. That's for certain. And then we're going to need a... Let's look up our key. We got to be very careful about this, because if we make a signal here saying like the key's been picked up, then it could emit the signal to all the rooms, and we only want to unlock the door for this one room. So we want to make sure that we're very deliberate in how we do this. So let's see. So if this. So go back into our room lock. Let's do this. Let's do a... Ooh, listen to that rain. It wasn't supposed to rain today. Let's do a key. No, let's do this. Let's do export var key. You know what? Let's do an export for this too. Let's do a export var door. We want it to be a door. Export var key. We want that to be a key. Did I do an item key? What did I give this for a class name? Item key. Okay. We should do this as item key. There we go. I like that naming convention better. So we'll do that. Go back over here to our room lock. We'll put that in there. There we go. Item key. Function. Ready? So now we're going to want to connect to the signals, which we don't have in the key. So let's add a signal to this signal. Let's say GNAL picked up. Picked up. Oops. Up. There we go. Cut copy. So if it's picked up, we're going to queue free it. We're going to emit it. Okay. Picked up, emit. Okay. So then we go here. We're going to do key dot picked dot picked up dot connect. We're going to do unlock door. There we go. Perfect. So function unlock door. We're not sending anything that signal, so that's totally fine. We're going to do door dot locked or unlocked equals true. Okay. Question. Do you think with this, because we're setting to unlock, is the door just going to open, or is it going to wait for us to get there? Let's find out. Oh, we got to do one other thing. Totally forgot. Because we made these export variables, we need to go back into the room, go to the room lock, assign the door, and assign the key. There we go. Okay. Oh. It helps if we have the door locked when we first come into the room. Wow. It also helps if we can spell the word false. Okay. Yep. Can't open the door. Can't open the door. Can't open the door. Let's go pick up the key. You got the key. Now we can open the door. Cool. Really gotta add that jump attack. Not having it is bothering me. Okay, so let's do one more round of validation. Let's make sure when we pick up that key and open that door, it doesn't open the door in another room. So let's go back over here to our playground. Let's find another room. Let's go with, let's see, this one's this long, this one's this long. Let's just put for testing purposes, we're going to put a second door. We'll put it right here, and then we can put the key over here. So then we can say this room, in this case horizontal 2. We're going to drag our door scene. We're going to put the door right here. Move it so it puts in position properly. And we're going to find the key. We're going to put the key here. And then in this room, let's see, where did we do this? Room lock. So let's add another. It's just a node 2D. Again, I'm just calling it room lock. Let's find the script for it. We'll attach the script for it. We'll put the door and the key under it. We'll assign the door. We'll assign the key. And then we will give this a go. Okay, so we'll grab this key, open this door. Let's make sure that we can't open this door yet. Nope. Okay. Now we can open that door. There we go. Okay, so we've got our doors working. Okay. Let's check the time real quick. We're at almost a half hour, so that is going to be... let's real quick see if I can add in a new yeah, I'm not going to get to it today, unfortunately. Animation mixer opening cannot resolve track static body 2D. Why could you not resolve that? Oh, because we're queue freeing it. What we should probably do then in that case is, okay, let's fix this error and then we'll call it a day. So we'll go back into our door. In here we're doing this function call queue free on the static body. Let's go back into the door. We have a reference to the static body, so why don't we instead create a function here, function, and then we're just going to call it open door. Boom, boom, void. And then we're going to do static body2d dot queue free. Okay. So that's, we're going to call this function instead. So let's go back into our animation player. Let's take this. We'll remove the static body. So let's go back in, find our exact moment here again that we want this to, there we go. Let's add in a call method. We'll call it on the door itself. We'll call the method. What did we call it again? Open door. I think that was it, right? Let's go back to our script. We called it open door. Okay, yep. Okay, so now this should get rid of this debugger error because we're no longer, it's not trying to keep track of something that no longer exists in the tree. So let's make sure that we are free from that error. So we'll do this. Whoops. Oh, so we grab the key, huh? Grab the key. Grab the key. And let's go make sure our error is gone. And with that, the error is gone because now we're still referencing an object that exists with the door and the open door function. So I think with that, let's, okay. So we've added the door today, tied it to the key. We made a container for the room so that we can lock the room until everything's, whatever the goal has been. We could use that for, defeated enemies. We could just throw some enemies in there. You don't technically have to have the key and the door underneath them. I like to do that just because then I can see my items are neatly organized and I can collapse the tree and say, okay, these belong to the door lock, so this has to be cleared before you can get out the door. So that's my own 2 cents how I like to do it. But with that, I think that we're going to head out because I've got to go and get a whole bunch of errands done before I have a meeting this afternoon. With that, have a good day, and maybe we'll stream again sometime in the near future.